Starts right now.
Hey, Ben. Thank you, Brett. Thanks so much. Good evening and welcome to Fox News Primetime. All this week, I've been coming to you urging you to rouse yourself, put on the armor of ideas, join with your neighbors, and take a stand as a wide-awake American. What does it mean to be wide awake? What are you prepared to do if you are? The challenges we face are enormous. From outsourcing to stagnating wages, a disconnected Wall Street, woke schools and corporations, depleted police, rising crime, cartel-driven chaos at the border, and an emboldened China prepared to eat our lunch. All of it, the results of policies our elites have made. Those policies can change. Do you think when left-wing activists ask, what can we do, they take elections have consequences, go to the ballot box in 2 years as an answer? No. Because that's stupid defeatist talk that we've been fed by stupid defeatist Republicans for decades. The answer is not just to vote. It's to organize and to make it known you are organizing against the deterioration of everything that made our American communities great. So, run for office. Create a media organization to FOIA curriculum. Start a neighborhood group. Present yourself under an umbrella that welcomes all other responsible members of your community who are sick and tired of being sick and tired and are willing to stand up. These petty school board mask and race-obsessed tyrants aren't out of your reach. Start with them. The teacher's refusal to teach our children has let parents into the classroom via Zoom and exposed that they're abusing children with racist and evil ideologies. So now we're staying, and those Zoom cameras aren't going off. Tell them in no uncertain terms, you've lost your right to privacy with my children. Are your local prosecutors refusing to prosecute? They're new, and they're next. You won't defend us from crime? I'm the guy who does his job. You must be the other guy. Support local endeavors. Your local cops, your local firemen, your local businesses. Support people whose names you know with your money and your time, instead of strangers on the internet or paying Jeff Bezos to play space cowboy. The dilapidated American Legion post? Go there. You can join and support them, even if you aren't a serviceman. You'll be amazed how happy some of the old timers are to see a new face to share a beer with or host a cookout. And if you can ask one of them to take you to the range, learn a thing or two or more about how to defend yourself, your home, and your family, if the left really does put the police in a box, that's a good thing. It's cheaper than private security, that's for sure. After all this time worrying about our physical health, mind your spiritual health. Go to church on Sunday. If you've fallen away, go back. Make it a habit for you and your family. Teach that God is there all the time and for all time. If you're Catholic, teach your kids the rosaries and the Stations of the Cross. If you're not, put a priority on belief in your life. Say prayers before dinner and before bed. Read to your children and grandchildren Bible stories and American history at bedtime. It was good for Abraham Lincoln, and it's good for them. Join the clubs. Go to the cookouts. Bring the chili. Stay after for donuts. Or organize it if it isn't already happening. Invite people over to your house for dinner. Get to know your neighbors and your neighborhood. Cultivate the art of hospitality and use it as a tool to build community. Let them know you're there to help, to volunteer, to be present for those in need. Without thriving families and strong, close-knit communities, we will never rescue or rebuild this republic. Taking all these steps to save your community is a form of cultural voting. America was never supposed to rely on government to create a moral citizenry. The citizenry produces a moral government. That's why all these small steps can be more important than voting. But also understand how far behind we are. Our churches have been demolished by the pandemic. Our institutions are feeble or overrun with wokeness. Our neighborhoods are ravaged by homelessness and drug use. Our schools are full of anti-American race baiters. Our woke military is woefully unprepared for war with China. This is going to be very, very hard. Is it hard to do this when any crazed leftist at CNN can, in an instant, destroy your livelihood, attack your family, and unperson you? Of course. Whoever said defending liberty would be easy? They want you to sleep. They want you to kneel. They want you to fade away, and they demand and expect it.
In the end, you will always kneel.
Not to men like you.
There are no men like me.
There are always men like you.
You may be canceled, You may be fired. You may have to give your family permission to disavow your viral video. Chardonnay Antifa may come after you to prove their dutiful usefulness and protect their trust funds and McMansions. Your office may have to study a Twitter-sponsored corporate race hustler like Ibram X. Kendi for your sins. The Atlantic may use you as a hook for an article. The 6 inevitable retractions will come later. Joy Reid may do an entire segment on you. The least popular person in your sociology class will surely message you on Facebook to let you know about that one. How much easier, how much more comfortable would it be to stay asleep? Enjoy the many worldly benefits of the on-demand economy. And when it comes to politics, stay quiet. Go with the flow. Just play dead, counting the days until you are. Meanwhile, our city streets fill with murderers, set loose as cops desperately call out for backup. Deaths of despair surpass deaths from the China virus. Our birth rate falls below replacement levels. Our children's naturally inquisitive and hopeful minds, stunted already by the mediocrity of their unionized instructors, melt away before us. And somewhere Nancy Pelosi complains her blowout is taking too long. If I could tell you honestly that this moment did not demand much of you, I would. But the hour is late, and the task before us is enormous. So often the left wins because they count on you to stop fighting. Conservatives don't temperamentally believe everything is political, but totalitarians don't take days off. And that's why the wide awake movement must be big tent. Successful revolutions demand it. Without Hamilton, we'd be an economic backwater. Without Madison, all states would be the same. Without Jefferson, we'd have no protection for individual freedom. And without Washington, we'd all still be British. That is an ecumenical American tradition we ought to embrace. There are more of us than there are of them, and it's time they felt it. As Edmund Burke recognized, a nation is a partnership between those who are alive, those who have died, and those yet to be born. Or as G.K. Chesterton put it, tradition means giving a vote to the most obscure of all classes, our ancestors. It is the democracy of the dead. Tradition refuses to submit to the small and arrogant oligarchy of those who merely happen to be walking about. Democracy tells us not to neglect a good man's opinion, even if he is our groom. Tradition asks us not to neglect a good man's opinion, even if he is our father. The American crisis can be the opportunity for American renewal. That's why it's worth doing. It's only by doing hard things and overcoming them that we find genuine happiness. In the end, the failure of the Tea Party was that it didn't go far enough. Subsumed within the Republican Party, it became just one more aspect of a partisan mission to change America. The wide awakes of today must be something more. This is a movement that is larger than one political party because it traces its motivation back to the fundamental understanding of the relationship between the citizen and the state. There are some who mean to rule you, who believe you will always capitulate, you will always kneel, you will always sleep, so that they can do what they will. How scared do you think they will be when you show them what you are made of? When you show them you are wide awake? On that day, they will be right to be afraid. I'm Ben Domenech, and this is the American Crisis.